So, hello, we're recording, and the uh, this is the group, the pro group, and we're here to chat about questions. And I know there's lots of questions out there. And before anyone even says I have a question, I'll just recognize Addie. Addie, what's your question? Let's you know what I'm saying. Let's just cut to the chase, right?
Well, uh, nothing that pops to the top of my head immediately. There are many, but I hope you got my email earlier.
That was for the natural light course. Yeah,
Yes,
I did.
it was for the portraiture
Yes.
course that you're designing, right?
Yes, good
Yes.
questions. Good questions to add. Absolutely, absolutely.
And I didn't realize that they were that those questions that it was just for natural light. I thought it was environmental portrait.
Oh no, no, no! It's not for natural light. It was for environmental portraits.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
yes.
it was all kinds of anything for environmental portraits. So your questions were quite good. Um, I'm working on right at this moment. I'm working on a marketing program that I'm going to send to you guys. I hope to have it finished by next Thursday. It looks like it's going to be about 6.5 hours long.
Wow.
But it's going to be for Udemy, and of course, you guys all get the free codes to get in there and test
Thank you,
drive
sir.
it, the whole thing. But
Uh,
and then this coming weekend, I'm really excited
uh,
about this.
heat
This
up dinner.
coming,
It's leftovers from last night.
mute yourself, folks. If you're
You can go play with chickens.
hello, who's playing with chickens?
I'll turn the light on. They'll wake up, and you can pick them up.
Who's playing with chickens?
I'm playing with chickens.
All right, everybody, mute yourself on the little button, and that way, then all you have to do is just jump in whenever you're ready. Or if you want to stop, just say something, just jump in. This weekend, I'm really jazzed. It's not tomorrow weekend, but the weekend after. The Lighting Essentials workshop that I did for years, I'm finally going to commit it to video. We're going to shoot it. Oh, I'm excited about it. We're going to shoot it with Bree and Anka. I've got two camera guys, and we're just going to put the whole thing onto video. It should be about a 7 or 8 hour course. Can throw it up on Udemy, and of course, give you guys all that as well. Everybody on
Thank you,
Pro
sir.
52 gets everything, and Brett
Thank you.
too. Um,
Can we get a lifetime membership to Pro 52?
well, yeah, that's what the last guys did last
Oh,
year. Yeah, last year we just created Insidious Tomatoes.
yes.
Um,
Yes.
this year, I guess we'll do Outrageous Oranges or something. I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm here for everybody. Once you go through the pro thing, we're here for you. You know, I think some folks on here know exactly what I'm talking about. Greg Kindred, we talk all the time. Michelle, I'm going to unmute you, so use your own mute button. Somebody does not have their thing muted. We're hearing all kinds of squeaks and stuff. If you're not chatting, mute. And if you want to chat, unmute and chat. So,
So I have a small question with regards to the projects that we had proposed that we would shoot.
yes, hold on for a
Um,
second. Jay, can you mute yourself, please?
Yes, sorry.
That's all right. Um, was that it?
so does that
Well,
um,
that's Ivan. Ivan. Where's Ivan? Ivan, you gotta mute yourself, sir.
I'm muted.
No, you're not. No, you're raising a hand there. Huh. Okay. Well, it seems to have stopped. There you go. Yes. Let me tell you what's happening with the projects. I put something up, but I got to keep bumping it to get it up to the top. At this point, people are completing their projects. You put them into a Dropbox for me. Here's my project, Don. Here's my little write up. I think I said 3 to 4 paragraphs. Here's my write up. And then these projects, I'm going to put them on Lighting Essentials. So we're going to get these projects going to see the light of day, and make it, make it kind of fun to get them up there.
Yes, yes.
So-
So my question was, if it's a paid for project, does it still qualify? Does it have
Sure.
to be? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no, just because you got paid for it doesn't mean it's not good.
Yes.
So if it's a gig that you got and you did a great job on it and you're real proud of it, yeah, for sure. Let's put it up.
Okay.
Happy to do it.
Thank you, boss.
You bet. Mr. Doss, how are you, my friend?
Scrambling to find the mute button is what I'm doing. Can you hear me okay?
I can. You can find if you just you gotta stop hitting the sauce so early there, Brett.
Hey, it's been a rough week. The tomato sauce. I hear the tomato sauce really bad.
And thank you once again for the little package. You're way too kind, my friend. Way too kind. But you are so right. What a difference it makes in that camera.
Yeah, I put it on mine. I was like, oh man, this is exactly what I need.
Makes all the difference in the world. And most importantly, chicks dig it.
Yeah.
We're talking about the grip for the Nikon V1. Brett had an extra one and popped one my way. And that grip makes that V1 just fit your hand so perfectly. Just changes everything about that camera. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall out of my hand anymore. So
Yeah, I was always worried about dropping it.
yes.
And it was always an awkward position it was always awkward to hold it. And now it just works.
Well, I have my website running in the back because just before this particular webinar, I did a webinar on natural light, and I was showing some shots from my book and to them. We were discussing how they were done, and I realized how many photographs I do with natural light. It's still probably it's still over 50% of what I shoot, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Even though I'm got all this lighting stuff, I still just kind of like the light. So it's all right. Who's got questions?
Don, do you use a lot of reflectors and scrims in your natural light stuff?
I do. I use I do use scrims. Yes, I love them. And I use the larger reflectors, the 60-inch, and then I've got one that's I think I want to say 82 inch. It's like a rectangle. Do you know what I'm talking about? Big rectangle reflector. Yes, I use that a lot. Now
Yeah,
that
it's like a
yeah. Go ahead. Hello? Uh-oh. Cut out. It's like a door. Thing looks like a door. You fold it down and do all you need to do with it. But it was those I use them a lot. But I also like this shot that's right there. Let me go back one. This shot was just pure natural light. Just absolutely pure natural light. All that's behind me is a very bright wall. And I do a lot of that. I think that was Ivan that asked me that question. Was that you, Ivan, that asked me that question?
Yep.
Yeah. I look for places when I'm scouting locations. I look for locations that give me a light source. White buildings, bright gray buildings. These are things that are light sources. And I'll just turn around, put them at my back and look and say, okay, now where could I shoot? What's happening over here? That I could use this big building for. And all you see in her eyes here are the buildings that are behind me. That's what's lighting up her eyes. So, but yeah, I do use, and the big giant gold reflector that I use, I don't use it on the model's faces as often as I use it for behind them. I'll open up the whole area behind them, or I'll use it for a rim light. Because if you're using that big reflector too close to them, you can really fry them, and I don't like to do that. They get very angry and want to
Hey,
hurt
Don?
me. Gary's here. Gary, I'm going to unmute you.
I'm finding for some reason I'm really enjoying natural light portraits.
Oh, I very much. I'm. I don't want to say I prefer them, but in a way I do. I absolutely love going out the door with a camera, 2 lenses, and a reflector. I love it. It's still my favorite way to shoot. Given my, like this shot that's on the screen now of Cicada in Bermuda, the shot of Keith Harrison's lit. These are both lit, obviously, but I do very much like having that natural light feel, and that the simplicity and the naturalness of it. I don't know if naturalness is a word, but it works for me. So jump in, folks. Who's next?
Hey, Don, you said once. I got a question, Don.
Yeah.
Don, you said once that you go out and shoot pretty much by yourself. You don't have any help, right?
I don't usually take help with me. No, not when I'm doing my own personal stuff. There's a reason.
Is it hard to wrangle those like the door size reflectors and still keep it where you want it and still operate the camera?
It's more back work. It really keeps you like stiff. But a C-stand with a short boom and a sandbag on it can withstand some pretty stiff breeze anyway. But yeah, if it's breezy, then I have to go to plan B, and I have to find a place where that stuff will work. But yeah, there's a couple of reasons for it too. When I shoot, and I think Brett has shot with me, and he can attest to this. When I shoot, I like zone out, don't I, Brett? I just kind of just really into that shot, and I'm not really, people say, what do you want me to do? It's almost like they're saying, what do you want me to do? And I'm going, oh, you don't talk to me is what I want you to do. So I'm not the world's best delegator to assistants and stuff like that, but there's times when you have to do that, and those are the times that I have to work on being a better delegator of the work that I need done. My assistants used to get mad at me because I just go out in the studio and start doing it myself. I said, well, let us help. I'm going, yeah, but it's faster for me to do what I want rather than me stand here and try to tell you what I want. The only full-time assistant I ever had that I didn't have to do that is Kevin Creighton. And Kevin's actually going to be helping me do that video next weekend. I'm just absolutely thrilled. Kevin was what I call the world's best assistant. He had a tool belt that he would wear around his waist when we were shooting that made Tim Taylor jealous. This guy had every single thing known to man in that thing. You'd say like, well, I wish I had a calipers. He's got them. It's like, you carry calipers? Well, you never can be too sure or too careful. Like, okay. Do you find finding it hard to go out by yourself, Greg?
Well, I tend to go out with probably umbrellas, and I don't have C-stands. I just have, like Manfrotto, kind of whatever the typical airframe kind of stands are.
Yeah,
I can put some weight on them, but it's not as probably convenient. Or you have that flat area on a C-stand where you can lay the weight over the top. Probably better.
Mm-hmm.
I'd use them if I had them. I just don't own any. So, but I haven't, to try to hold a reflector and shoot. It seems like I can never get the reflector where I think I really want it.
Oh, it's hard enough. It's hard enough just to hold the reflector and get it to where you want it, or where the photographer wants it. let alone the incredible thing. You're focusing on the face and the putting all your attention on the subject, and all of a sudden now you're thinking about what? You're thinking about your reflector, thinking about the reflector and how it's working and how you're angling it, and you just stop thinking about the subject. And I think you've got to focus on the subject 100% of the time. Otherwise, yeah, it gets a little dicey. You're in Kansas City. There's a couple of Project 52 guys in Kansas City, aren't there?
Well, I just found out there's somebody out in Lee Summit, I think. I think there's a new person out there. But other than that, I'm not familiar with anybody else.
Well, that's
I'd have to kind of go back and look around. It's a female out in Lee Summit, I think.
that's something that you really got to work on, is to find somebody that you can go shoot with. Somebody that you can just go out and you're going to go out and hold the fill card for them for 2 hours, and then they're going to hold the fill card for you for 2 hours.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep, absolutely.
If I can jump in just for a second.
Sure.
Just talking about natural light portraits. I had done that project for a client where they wanted this natural light feel in urban backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't shot with natural light in a while, because most of the time I'd find myself in a room shooting something for news, or if it was a corporate PR kind of portrait,
Sure.
then it's cubicles or whatever it is. And it was a pleasure shooting outdoors, and it was a whole new learning experience, as in relearning, just by placing people somewhere close to edge of light or facing sideways to edge of light.
Mm-hmm.
Without a reflector. I did it without a reflector, and I was amazed as to how much one could change the quality of light on the person's face
Oh yeah.
just by making them step in, 3 feet into the shade, or come right to the edge and stuff. I was just totally blown away, and it was like, I know this. I've done it before, and I hadn't done it in a while.
The neat thing about it is that there's kind of a sweet spot, and that's from like right at the edge of the light to about, as you say, about 4 feet in. Once you pass that 4 feet in, doesn't really make any difference.
Yes.
It's pretty much all the same as you go back. It's just darker. The light's flat and it's darker. But when you start playing right at the edge of it, you can, it's really, really a thrill. I think sometimes we as photographers really enjoy that, the challenge, that exciting challenge of making something work, that it's not just show up and hit the shutter and go away, that we really, really make something work. So, Addie, while I got you on the line here, anybody else can jump in. How do you think I did this shot here?
You definitely lit her somehow, because the light seems to be coming from her back. So you've lit her from the front somehow, whether it's a reflector or on the right-hand side, the light seems to be coming from the right and top.
Yes.
On her face, that is.
Yes.
It's a beauty dish from the right.
Beauty dish from the right. From all the way over here?
That's what I say.
From all the way over here?
Yep.
Can I? Yes. No. I think it's on a tripod, and you were closer, and you sort of did 2 shots.
It's 2 shots. Yes, it's one shot taken of her standing here with these clouds, and then I said now, and a guy who's standing right over here runs in, and I take 4 shots of her. He's standing right here with the little shoot-through umbrella, right about there. Take 4 shots. He runs out. I do one without him again, because why?
Because she might have moved?
No, because the clouds are moving.
Yes.
So if I did all 25 shots of this girl while he's standing, and I go, okay, now I'm going to take him out. Now, this part of the sky where he was just isn't going to look like that anymore. So it's 4 quick shots. He hoofs it out, and I take 1, and he's back in for 4, and he hoofs it out. And then I'll tell you, within 4 shots, you'll still have to go in here and touch up a little places because those clouds are moving.
Oh yeah.
This is West Palm Beach, and I think when you're to me, it's like if you're closer to the ocean, they move faster, and if you're way up in the mountains, they move faster. I don't know why that is, but I think it has to do with the altitude.
Okay, I got questions.
Yes.
I got questions
Mhm.
because I'm just getting into starting in with layers in Elements 11. You did what, 4 shots total to get this picture?
No. I did 4 shots of this shot of what you see here. 4 different, like where she's moving, posing. 4 shots with a guy standing right here.
Right.
Okay. Then he moves over here out of frame, and I take 1 shot. That shot, all I need from that shot is from here down to where the rocks he was standing on, and then up here like this. So then I take the shot where he's not in the picture, and I open it up next to this picture where he is in the picture, cut a square of the area without him, hold the shift key down, and drag it from that picture over here. And boom, pops right in. He's gone.
Okay, I can dig it.
If you
Did
go
you
to
read
lighting,
the shot?
That's something you can only do with layers, though, right?
yes. Oh no, you can, yeah, and you can do that in Elements. Elements has layers.
Yeah, you can do it in Elements.
Oh sure.
Like I say, I'm just starting in really trying to find out what this thing can do, because there's a number of things there that I do need, such as the context-aware healing brush and all that neat stuff. And
there's a lot in the. Let me tell you, the only thing I don't like about Elements personally, and I have Elements. What do you have? 8? Oh, you have 11.
I got 11. Yeah.
Okay, I think I've got like 8 or 9. The only thing I don't like about it is I don't like the interface. And the reason I don't like the interface is not because I've spent 20 years in Photoshop. And so the interface is foreign to me, even though it does the same thing. I keep wanting, and I've got my layers palette there, and I keep wanting to go to where I think my tool is, right? And that doesn't work. If that doesn't happen to me when I'm working in Dreamweaver, because Dreamweaver is its own program. So I'm not like, oh, gee, where's that move tool that's supposed to be there in Photoshop? It's not. It's, it's a whole different program. But when they're that similar, it drives me crazy. That being said, I could probably do much of what I do, as long as I have the ability to set opacities and blend modes. I'm a happy guy. You've seen me do my Photoshop. I'm blend modes and lightening and darkening and that kind of stuff. All these different selective channels and stuff. That's not me. But it's nice to have it when I need it. So, well, good for you. I'm glad you're playing with that. I know that you haven't used that in the past, right? You've been using GIMP or something. Ivan?
No, I use Capture NX. I use Capture NX.
Okay.
I use an icon software.
Yeah, and that'll go pretty far, but it won't do layers. And that's where it and Lightning fall down. Yeah.
What I'm finding with layers is that you have very precise control over where you put the adjustments, more so than you do with control points only. Control points are nice, they're handy, very, very quick for a simple shot.
Yep.
But unless you're picking the right color control point, like placing the control point on exactly the right color, the adjustment will bleed a little bit.
Oh yeah, and of course it does, and it has to, because it's a mask with a soft edge on it.
Yeah.
It's like I do the same thing that, what's that thing called? It's a Nick one. I think it's like Vivacity or Vivacis or
Viveza, yeah.
Viveza. Okay, I do the same thing.
Viveza uses control points.
Yep. When I do my lightning and dodging, when I do, I make a new layer, convert it to soft light, and then use a real soft white brush. I'll touch it, and then every time I touch the point, I'll make the brush one click larger, you know, so I get a little lighter and it fades out, that kind of stuff. Then Vivesa does it easier, but Vivesa doesn't give me the ability to paint it back, and that's the difference. I could add a whole lot of flair to this shot here. I could take this shot and take my Vivesa, my little white brush, put it on a layer, and start making this bright circle here of white. Really lighten it up, give it a lot of flair, right? Then all I have to do is bring it in close and then paint out the flare with an eraser tool and be done with it. And I can't do that with Vivesa because it commits it to the whole thing, which is why I can't use Photoshop or Lightroom only for my work. I can't. It'd be nice if I could. It'd be really nice if I could just use one software, but I can't. I have to have the ability to do all the little things. And that's just me. It's not every other photographer. So
Hey, Don,
yes.
just one comment on the control points. When you mentioned that they bleed, you can drop another control point out, over in the area where you don't want the first control point to affect. That's neutral. You haven't made any adjustments, and it'll correct some of that bleeding out.
Yeah, but it'll never be like I want to get just this rock.
Right.
Yeah, it'll never do that. You can sort of mitigate it on the edges. Yeah. Well, the thing that I've learned over the past couple of months playing with Nik is Nik software as a whole. It's not just a bunch of actions. By any means, it's every time you do something in Vivesa, you have an entire control panel there that you can work with. It's not just drop a point and make it lighter. You look over to the right side there, and there's all kinds of stuff. And the same with the Nik, whatever it's called, color effects. If you use just the defaults, well, fine, but you don't have to. You can take the defaults and then you can just tweak the ever-living hell out of them on the right side. It's a whole software program in and of itself. It's not just a bunch of actions like I think a lot of people, including me, thought they were. You bought them and then you just, apply the actions, and that's not it at all. So much to them.
They're more than actions. I've got them installed in Elements, and I've got the color effects installed in the Nikon software, and it really is. It's a whole different set of tools. It's like your assistant with a tool belt.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I found that when I went through it at first, Ivan, there were a lot of those things, and there still are a lot. I don't want to make a peach-colored picture, and I don't want a rainbow, and I don't want HDR and those things. But some of the other, there's one called like something morning, good morning, or misty morning, or I don't know what the hell it's called, morning. And it makes a really, really cool, grainy kind of old shot with a light vignette instead of a dark vignette. When you apply the action, it's very heavy-handed, just like, it's like taking a sledgehammer to it, right? Then you go over to the right side and you start tweaking this thing back to where you want it. And wow, it's like a big wow. It's just amazing what you can do with the panel on the right. You don't have to accept the default.
If you want something to really add pop to it, try the dark and light and center action. In default, just as the default, it's a very, very subtle, you can hardly even notice it, vignette. You can adjust the center size and everything, but just as the default, when you first apply it, it gives your picture just an amazing feeling of depth. But it's so subtle you don't even notice it.
I like the Pro Contrast myself.
Pro Contrast is good.
Pro Contrast, and I go in and I'll run it and I'll tweak it a little bit and I'll move it, and it moves back over to its new layer, and then I'll just adjust the opacity of that layer, and then I'll also use a mask and paint some of the stuff back. If
you want to have some really this picture you got up now, Sorry, go back one. If you take and apply the tonal contrast to the water, it'll make that water just jump out. You got to be careful with the tonal contrast because it does get very noisy. So I usually bring back the highlights.
Yep.
The highlight slider, but it'll make that water jump up and really accentuate the ripples and the roughness of the water.
Yep. Yep. You can just have so much fun with this stuff. But yeah.
Don, if we could take a step back to natural light, I had a very interesting conversation with my wife yesterday.
Sure.
I'm trying to catch up on my shoots, and I did some still life. I put peaches in a bowl and took it out to the window area and took some pictures, and it looked like everybody else's picture. So then I took it indoors to the studio and backlit it with a reflector and lit it with a beauty dish and had what I would consider a little bit more dramatic image, which I liked, and I brought them in and showed it to her, and she didn't like it because it wasn't natural light. And it was a very interesting response. It was unnatural. Still lives like that, she's used to seeing with natural, comfortable light.
I understand that, and think of these two mags. Do you remember Metropolitan Home?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember ever looking through it?
Probably ages ago.
Okay. Their shooters.
It was all natural.
Yeah, exactly. It was all natural light, and if the window was bright, it just blew out, and if there was sunlight coming across the white carpet, it was gone. Then you go over to Architectural Digest, and I don't know if there was ever any natural light. Those photographers have dozens of lights placed all over the place. It's just a matter of taste, and it's a matter of style. And the photographers I know who shot for Architectural Digest would look at Metropolitan Home and they just shake their head and go, "Oh, that's terrible. It's terrible." I was kind of liking the Metropolitan Home stuff better than the Architectural Digest. With food, she was looking at a food shot and you were looking at a concept shot, because when you took the peaches into the studio and you started using would you say use a beauty dish on them?
Yes.
Yeah, you're now using the peaches as a design element to create a photograph. She was still looking at peaches, you were looking at a design element. So you're both right and you're both wrong. So
right. But it was interesting because it was the first time I started to think about how many people you alienate by your choices.
Oh, there's a book by Erica Napolitano called The Power of Unpopular. And one of the things and it's one of my favorite books because nobody practices being unpopular like I do. One of the premises is that being popular can be a bigger negative than being unpopular. And when you're unpopular, you have a niche of people. I have a very small Flickr forum. You're on Flickr, right? On the forum with me.
Yes.
Lighting Essentials, I think, has like 6,800 people or something like that. So right now, someone's going to check, and they'll pop in and let us know. That there are other forums on there that have 10 times that many people, but they're not nearly as active as ours. Lighting Essentials is active all the time. You can't go up there any time of the day or night that there's not some post within the last hour.
Hey Don, you have almost 7,000 on Lighting Essentials.
Wow. Okay, 7,000. Now I've been over 6,000 for almost 2 years, so we haven't gained a tremendous amount of people, and that's okay. I don't think anybody has gained a lot on Flickr lately, but you can go over these other forums. And you can go on there. There hasn't been anybody posting for 12 hours or 13 hours or something like that. And I would rather
12 months,
huh? Or 12 months. Yes, this guy invited me to his Flickr page. Then I clicked on it. I rarely join, but I clicked on it, and it was the last post was like, you know, a year and a half ago. No, it's okay. Why would I join it? Hello, Christina. Make sure you
Hi.
make sure you mute yourself unless you're chatting. And
Okay.
it's free for all. So
Okay.
How do you mute yourself?
there should be a little on your little floating thing. There's a microphone with a line through it.
Oh, actually, that time I showed up, I've been talking quite a bit and not coming through, but I guess I am now. So
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a small but I think fiercely loyal group. We have our spats. We have our.
Don, you have an actual community.
I have a what?
An actual community. Most of the Flickr groups are like, oh, Canon users, which is, you know, just a bunch of people who are like, I know who Canon is. And, you know, the conversations aren't very interesting, so the conversations die. Whereas your group is an actual community where people talk to each other, they've gotten to know each other, and so they respond to each other, oh, I was looking for the next post from so-and-so. And, you know, that's a really valuable thing. It's very hard to cultivate, so congratulations.
I think that that building a community, at any time you do it, you automatically alienate somebody. In our case, Lighting Essentials, I think we've alienated trolls, which is a good thing. I'm fine with that. We don't have very many trolls in our community at all. And I think. What's that?
Hip hip huzzah! 3 cheers for trolls. There we go.
Yep, and so there are folks out there who don't like me, and I know that. I was kicked out of the Strobus group a month ago, or 2 months ago, or however long it was ago.
What? Recently?
Yeah, I was kicked out 2 months ago. I think 6 weeks ago.
What did you do?
I asked David Hobby why.
So we need to hear the story on this.
David, there was
there's a story. Oh, great.
Yeah, there's a.
Yeah, I want to hear the story.
Okay, there was a guy on there who posted, and this guy's been a loyal Strobist for, quite a long time, and 3 or 4 years. And he's an art director, and he just got the assistant art director's job at some school, some university up in the Bay Area. So he said, wow, I've talked to my boss, and we're going to have some budget for some new photographs. So if you guys want to come up and do the photographs, I'll get you your passes. You'll have assistants. You'll have the run of the school. You can do anything you want. Now, we're not going to hire you to do the shots because we don't know what kind of work you're going to do. But of the group that does it, we need 10 shots, and we'll pay full usage rights. When you look up full usage rights, that's spending a half an hour up, spending a half a day up at the university. You can make upwards 25, 30 grand if you're the shots. And everybody jumped on this guy like he was like Mr. like most terrible guy in the world. This is shooting for free. And his point was, I'm giving you an opportunity to fail gracefully, right? There's no money on the table for anybody, so you don't have to worry about winning or losing. And it's just an invite. It's not a job. It's an invite to come up there and see what you can do. What else are you going to do on a Saturday afternoon? Sit around and talk about photography, or go up there and actually, if they only chose one of your images, you'd be talking about a $4,000 payday.
And even if they don't, like if you've got assistants and great material, if you don't come out with a portfolio shot, well, you failed on your own.
Exactly. Absolutely exactly. And that's how I saw it. And I was basically saying, if you can't see the value in what he's offering, I get that. But why are you being rude? Because you don't know this guy. He's a little art director at a school next 2 years from now, he could be junior art director at Nike.
Right, and let's keep the keyword here in play. School.
Yeah.
Budget, low.
Yeah. And like he said, he said we will pay full ASMP usage rights for those pictures, and that was real serious money. So I posted, why be rude and everything, and then David jumps on there and says, this guy's an idiot, he's a cracker, he's this is what work for hire looks like, and blah blah blah. And I was shocked because do you remember David writing an article about 2 years ago about shooting for access and not worrying about money?
More than once. Like 2 years ago, a year ago, 3 years ago.
Right.
Yes.
So I wrote, this was my post, David, I'm confused. And I put a link to his post on shooting for access. He sent me back a 12 paragraph, what an asshole I am, blah, blah, blah. And I'm out of Flickr. I'm out of Strobist. I'm like, okay.
So he actually banned you? He actually banned you out of that?
Yeah. The thing that was really fascinating is that I've been there for, at least 6 years. And I have, at one point I was the #1 poster on that site and have made hundreds of hours of posts on education and lighting and everything that he wiped. Not only did he ban me, he wiped out all my posts. They're all gone.
What?
Yep.
Oh,
Wow. That's not right.
No, that's an automatic thing that happens with Flickr. That's not Hobby's fault. Let's just get that clear.
What's that? Say it again.
If you get kicked out of the group, so do your post.
That's
just a Flickr thing.
Nope. I don't think so.
That's what I've seen from other groups, but they may have.
No, because there was this guy named Kuki, Cuki, Kuki. They banned him too, and all his posts were still there.
I actually seem to remember that guy. He was an ass.
I think, and I stopped going around with him because I started to think that maybe he's not, he's an enchilada short of a combo plate. and I just didn't want to be the guy. I didn't feel, because he would just start rambling on about some sort of cosmos and, quantum physics of making an adjustment to a backlight, and it just got to be too much. And I thought this may be a guy he may just be confined, to a hospital room or something, and then all he has to do is to do this stuff. So I let him go. I just let it be. And,
so this is snarky, but I think McNally got a hold of him.
Well,
ever since they got close, things have been changing.
Well, I don't think they're that close anymore. McNally's got off doing another bus, and David ain't on it.
Oh, really? Well, that doesn't really surprise me about McNally.
No, McNally saw what was going on with David and jumped out there with his first book on speedlights. He just jumped right out there. He saw exactly what David was doing with speedlights, and McNally just did an in run right around him. Why? Because McNally's a big time photographer, and David was a little newspaper shooter in Baltimore, and McNally had the stuff, the money, the substance, the assets to do that. And I always thought that
was... McNally shoots with like 100 speedlights at once.
Well, McNally is a wonderful photographer. I want you to make no mistake about what I'm going to say. McNally is a wonderful photographer. I think he's a photographer's photographer. But he's become a sideshow, and it makes me uncomfortable. His website makes me uncomfortable. He's a carnival worker now instead of a photographer.
So much about what McNally's done now that people are talking about are like, oh, I lit this airplane with like 100 speedlights.
Yeah.
What the? Huh?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It becomes a sideshow. It's a carnival act. Look what I can do with a speedlight. So,
like, who can go for the Guinness record?
Yeah. Well,
But what he does is exceptional, and I've got
Okay,
at least
excuse
one
me.
of his books. And
You know,
they're good.
when you go up
But
and
this
look
isn't
at
about photography.
McNally's, you look at McNally's portfolio, I mean, it's just heartbreakingly gorgeous. Just freaking gorgeous. I love his work.
Oh yeah, and I've got at least one of his books, maybe two, and they're good. Like I remember really enjoying them. But
Oh yeah, the first book that he did, and I can't remember what it was called. Was it Hot Shoot Diaries or The Moment It Clicks? The Moment It Clicks. That's a very good book.
I've got this actually, yeah. I've got one with the,
Adam, mute yourself, sir.
Who's not taking a dump?
I think Adam's out there cleaning out the garage while he's got us online here. Adam, mute yourself.
I was getting ready to see either
There we
taking
go.
a dump or construction zone.
The other photographer who's a great photographer is Gregory Heisler. His portraiture is...
Now, Greg Heisler was the probably third or fourth photographer I ever looked at when I was a photographer looking at another photographer's work. And it was a bunch of shots he had done of coal miners in a mine. And he was talking about going down in the mine with he and his assistant and his great big Mamiya RZ and shooting these coal miners with two potato masher strobes. And they were so incredible. I still have them. I still have that book, the issue of that magazine in a box out there. They were that incredible. Heisler is also what I would call a photographer's photographer. Absolutely. Greg is one of the best ever and one of the nicest people you'll ever meet ever on this planet. No arrogance to that man at all. Just down to earth.
So I have a small question with regards to speed lights.
Yes, sir.
I had invested in a Nissan professional speed light a few years back, and so to cut a long story short, the other day the PC port came away while I was taking the cable out, the radio trigger cable out. It just came away, and it's been this light has been sort of there always with me, as in to light the background, to do a rim light, or do something with it.
Yeah, you should have to get it
Contact your
fixed.
distributor. Their support is excellent. I've returned many a Nissan light, and they give me, like, I had the Nissan blah 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 Mark 1. They sent me back to Mark 2 as like, oh, I'm sorry you had that problem. Here's a Mark 2 instead.
Well, they actually in 2010 I did write, and they did replace my Nissan, but I wrote to him yesterday, and he basically said that they'd my light was no longer in warranty, and that I can send it in, and they let me know about the repair charges.
Yeah. Well, you're talking 3 years ago. That's that's not going to be.
Yeah, especially for. I mean, I abuse my speed lights. I can't really blame them on 3 years out.
No. So I'm not complaining about Nissan, though I find that the workmanship or the Canon lights are much more robust. But anyway, that being said,
no. I'll tell you what. I had a 580. It didn't last 3 years.
Wow.
No, it sure did
the
not.
Mark 2 is much better. The metal foot makes a big difference. Which, interestingly, Yonggu is doing metal feet now.
Hey, that part of the world, they're on a mission, folks. I've been over there. I've been in that they don't sell their triggers here. The little company we visited when we were in Kuala Lumpur, they don't sell them in America. They sell them in England and throughout the middle and east. Oh, holla.
Sorry.
That's all right. And these guys are driven. They are absolutely wanting to make the best stuff out there. Now, how do they do it? Well, they sort of rip other people off, unfortunately. But at some point, they're going to become the leaders. And
are we talking Yonggu?
Well, young, yeah. No, the company I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't Yongnu because The company I was at does not sell in America. They only sell
the Chinese, basically.
This was Malaysia.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but the young.
Hey, look, their patent laws just aren't as strict. They can get away with it.
Well, that's in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, there are no patent laws. Just every man for himself. Good luck with that. And there's no the courts in Malaysia do not recognize American patents. So you're just America can fight to keep the product offshore. They can do that, but they can't stop them from making it. But at some point, though, guys,
has many powers. Although they've come back to bite us on copyright.
Oh yeah, just remember, at some point they're going to get so good that they're going to become the leaders. Okay?
No, the trade laws have come back to bite us, is what I'm saying.
What's that?
Oh, like our copyright laws are invalid now because our international treaties take precedent.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know no. I was saying as far as the quality of the gear, they're starting to make gear that you really can't turn away from. I mean, really hard to go, well, that's crap. No, it's not crap, not anymore. I can remember, I'm an old guy. I remember when toy autos were first introduced here, and Datsuns, and they were,
the Datsuns.
Datsuns, remember Datsuns?
We used to make fun of the Koreans.
No, Datsun
got like stuff that can't be beat.
Yeah, I mean Toyota and what are they? Nissan.
Nissan.
Yeah, Nissan, Toyota, and Nissan, best cars on the road. They just
look out for Hyundai.
That's what we drive. We're both Hyundai drivers, my wife and I. I love my Hyundai Sonata.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like those things came out of nowhere and like just landed with like quality.
Yeah, but do you remember
and
what
then you look
Hyundai's...
up like I've never heard of Hyundai, and I look them up, and they make everything from like oil tankers to like toy tugboats to like cell phones.
When Hyundai first came to America with their cars, I don't know if you guys remember, but Hyundais were under $8,000. They were just like toy cars. And now you can go into Hyundai. Hyundai has their top of the line car is $68,000. It's
a nice car.
It's a really nice car. Used to be Sonata was top of the line. I have a Sonata, brand new Sonata. I love it. I absolutely love it. Best car I've ever driven, especially at the price point I paid. I got to tell you.
But the Sonata's in the Accord. What's the Toyota one? Crap.
The Toyota has the Lexus, and Nissan has the.
No. I was talking about the Hyundai Sonata was the Camry Accord counterpart.
Yeah, exactly.
And now the top line at Hyundai is going after the luxury brands.
Lexus. They're right up there with Lexus. Yep. And they're selling cars. When I was there last getting my car fixed, there was a guy rolling off the showroom floor in his $68,000 Hyundai, and I was very jealous because, God, that's a nice car. But the chances of me ever spending $7,000 on a car is nil.
For what it's worth, I went and got a couple of those speed lights that you, Don, you reviewed in your blog there.
Which ones?
Oh,
the Magnums.
I think so. The Chinese ones.
Yeah.
Are they good?
$70 a piece. I got a couple of them. They work every bit as good as my SB 910.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
And they're completely disposable. They got to me from China within 2 weeks in the mail. At $70, if they break, you get a new one.
Well, that's the thing with the young news. I've heard nothing but great stories. I remember reading one forum, maybe it was Strobus, where the guy was really pissed because he'd had his young new for 2 years and had shot with it every day and it died on him. And you want to go, dude, you paid $48 for it and you shot 2 years every day with it. It's like, come on.
I matched it up with the OG Coco. I can't even say these names. Ojikoco triggers.
Uh-huh.
I got them from a distributor in England. They're, I don't know, $30 a piece or something, and they work perfect. And I'm on the beta test team for the new TTL ones.
Well, I'm still using the comm lights they sent me to use to try out 2 years ago. I'm still using them. I love them. They are just so dead on all the time. I never worry about them. And
I mean, what's the big deal? All you need something. All you need is something to make the flashes go bang.
That's it.
And if they all go bang, you got a picture.
Yeah, I don't do TTL. I know people who do and they love it, and I got that. I'm fine with that, but I don't use TTL. I'm much.
Well, I just want to try it out because I like the idea of being able to control all the lights from the camera menu.
Yeah.
The Nikons have that capability.
Yep.
And it's just so much more convenient than walking 40 feet over to your.
I know, but see,
Apollo, opening it up and trying to find the right button to press up there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but it's still one of those things where I'll just go and do that. The fewer things I have to go wrong, the better.
If you got all manual flashes, one of the things that I love about the Yongus that I've got, the all manual ones,
yeah,
there's basically like a power, a test, and a rocker button.
Yep.
I click it once, it doubles the power. I click it twice, it doubles again. I go the other direction, and it halves the power.
Yep, and
just that's it.
Really, really fast.
Whereas like the Canons will, bake you breakfast and cook your eggs and things like that. So the menus have to be a bit more complicated in order to let you know what you want to do.
And what else do the Canons do that make our life easy? Huh? What is it?
Apparently it does my eggs over easy.
They turn off.
They cook bacon.
Oh, the Yongos do that too. It drives me insane. The Canons will turn back on if you have TTL triggers.
If you have TTL, yes, you can activate them. The ones I use, the Magnums, those bad boys will not turn themselves off for 10 minutes. They will after 10 minutes, but they'll sit there hot for 10 minutes. And man, I like that.
Yeah, but with the Ojikoco triggers, they'll wake up. With Ojikoco triggers, they wake up. Trust me, I know. Really. I was amazed.
I've started using the Pixel Kings for TTL for
those
the
are
Canon stuff.
Those are what all the pros I know in the East. I know Jorge. That's what Jorge is scored was Pixel Kings. They love them over there. I know that they're really well made.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty well made. Like I love the fact that the transmitter's got a metal foot. I'm a bit pissed that the receivers don't, but anyway. The main problem I have with them is I got to figure out how to work the whole optical trigger like grouping thing that Canon has, which is ridiculously complicated and stupid.
Okay, Russell, get somebody help me out. The Canon shooter knows everything about Canon stuff with the red hair, all the red hair. What's his name?
Oh, crap.
Friend of mine even, and I can't think of his name.
Sil Arena, the Speedlighter's Handbook.
What's that?
Adam?
Sil Arena.
Adam?
Sil Arena. You get the Speedlighter Handbook, Sil Arena, and it'll answer every question, and you will be absolutely in control of your Canon flashes.
I'm letting them please talk.
Oh, that'd be great because I understand the concept of ratios. I'm like, okay, I can, I took fourth grade, arithmetic, but like the controls to like, I want this group to do this. I want this group. I just want to know my light is in that group.
You get
That's all I want to know.
Get his handbook. You'll absolutely love it. And the neat thing that I like about Sil's book, and by the way, don't get it on Kindle. Do not get it on Kindle. It does not work well on Kindle.
Get anything on Kindle.
Get the book. What I love about it is he walks you through it in such a plain English kind of way that you get it. I watched him do a workshop at my studio. He took the guys outside in May sunlight here in Phoenix, And you know how you always hear, well, yeah, Canon flashes don't do well outside. He worked them just fine at distances of 20 feet.
I'm sorry your fish sticks didn't agree with you, babe.
And just did a great job with the things working solidly in bright light, where everybody says, oh, they won't work in bright sunlight. I watched him do it.
Wait,
I was totally amazed.
Like May sunlight in Phoenix, isn't that like 10 feet from the sun?
Well, it just feels like it's 10 feet from the sun. Feels like it.
Oh, that's deep.
So, anyway, pretty fun book, and really an easy read for those of us who want to learn how to do it. So, well, any more questions? Any other questions, folks?
I was just going to make one comment about the Pixel Kings. For me, TTL is a one-trick pony. And I use it for events where I carry around this like 16-inch softbox with a speed light in it.
Yep.
That I have TTL on. When I'm, it's dark as hell. You can't see anything. The best thing I love about the Pixel Kings is they have an infrared, or basically a red light that transmits out the front of them, which helps the focus on the Canon needed. So I get my focus, and I get a light that's off camera. And I throw like 1 or 2 lights around the event that are just on optical triggers. If they see something go bang, they go off. And so I get my backlight rim light.
Yeah, well, if I was shooting events, I probably would get out there and learn how to do that TTL stuff, because it really makes sense.
Oh, learning to it. Like I either set it like I got 1 light on TTL. Everything else is an optical trigger on manual.
I know what you're saying, Russell, but I put my flash on my 580 EX2 on my camera, and I go out to make photographs with it, and I think I'm doing everything right, and they look like crap. They're too dark, or they're too bright, just all over the place. And and I'm not stupid when it comes to doing it, but obviously I'm doing something wrong, because my friend Daniel goes out and he just nails every shot, and I'm like, what are you doing?
The key for events, because you got lots of really bright stuff, lots of really dark stuff, spot metering. Yeah, you're on total manual on your camera, but that spot metering counts for the ETTL that goes to the flash.
Mm-hmm.
So you grab your exposure off your subject straight through the spot, and then that tells the flash what to do. And I'm shooting with a Mark III, so I just shoot it really wide so I can crop it later.
Yeah, well, that's...
So my composition is really loose so that I can tighten it up later. And the flash knows what to do. It works out great. It's like no thinking. Just put the center point on the dude that you want to take a picture of. Bang.
That's cool. I ought to try it. I ought to try it again. It's not the kind of work that I do, but it would be nice to have it for, those times when I need to go do something with the wife and kids and not have to sit there and fuddle around with my manual stuff.
I just pulled those flashes out of my car there. Yeah, they're called Magnum.
Magnums, yeah.
Yeah. I love them.
They have an optical trigger?
Yep, they have an optical.
Yep.
And
it works.
Work very, very well, too.
Very well.
And does the optical have the pre-flash IGNO also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, they both have. They have a. I think it's called S1 and S2. Slave 1 and Slave 2. If you put it on Slave 2, it ignores the first flash.
Yeah.
Yep.
And where would I be able to get them?
Amazon, I think.
eBay.
Or is it eBay?
Amazon or eBay, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, if you go to Amazon, you've got like some dude who's got a source over in Hong Kong who's bringing them over. Amazon Marketplace, as they call it. eBay, well, we know how eBay works.
Yep.
And yeah, that's it. But hey.
Well, I know I got them from. I think I got them from eBay, and I got them directly from the seller in China.
And you got the ones that are totally manual. I mean, the one that goes up by one stop, because they have two.
Totally manual.
They have two versions. They have one that's ETTL, and you've got thirds of a stop control on the flash, and then they have the basic one, which is full stop. I find myself using the basic one more than I use the one with the thirds of a stop. it just to me, it just
Yep.
it's my language, I guess. Just makes sense to me.
What the hell is a third stop when you're using a flash, for crying out loud?
Oh, it's huge. Are you kidding?
Oh,
Are you
no.
kidding?
Serious. You can't even see it. Come on.
Oh, yes, you
Good
can. Oh, yes, you can.
Good God. Once you render the raw there, I mean, you can't even pick it up. You guys must have pilot's eyes, actually astronaut eyes or some goddamn thing.
No, I can definitely see a third of a stop, big time.
You can see a third of a stop.
Yeah.
What the difference is when you pull it into your computer, do you have to adjust it?
I
Who cares?
want to do it so I don't have to. But
That's my point.
if I'm
It's like
shooting-
if you've got that third stop control and you get it right in the camera, you bring it into your computer and go, yeah, that looks great.
Let's say you're doing a still life and you want to bring in a snooted light just for a kicker. A third of a stop can make all the difference in the world on that. If I'm doing anything where I'm doing ratios or hair light, a third of a stop can make all the difference in the world. Now, if I'm doing something far away, and the farther away the subject is from the light or the camera, the less what I call finesse, the less finesse to the light. Like when somebody goes, I got to shoot 80 people for my company. How do I light them? Dude, you don't. Are you nuts? Take them outside, put them in the shade, and shoot them. You're not going to finesse the light on 80 people. Not possible. Well, let's put it this way. Not possible with your SB800 and your D90, okay? If you had multiple lights that you could feather across the group, yeah. But you don't have that, so it's not going to work. But when you get in close to still lifes or portraits and stuff, yeah, I most definitely can see a third of a stop. I can't say that I can see the difference between a quarter and a third, but I can see a third.
Well, I can definitely tell you when earlier this week we were talking about that like multi-million-dollar house I was shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Those Yongos with their one-stop increments, too blunt of an instrument. I'm trying to light up the stove, the stainless steel stove,
right,
so that it just shows up.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, if you the
four
difference
stop
between
increments, that thing was either like a blazing ball of fire or dark as hell.
Well, one stop is a lot of difference, especially in a specular and also in an area where the light is hitting an efficient surface, like something a little bit shiny. It can make all the difference in the world. And
well, that's when I had to like reconfigure everything because I had my two Canon lights on the mains, which I should have known better and just put the Yongos on the mains because that's where your big jumps happen.
Yeah.
And then my detail stuff, I needed the Canons in there where I could like dial down to like that third stop, and I could get them down to like negative 120 to 128 power, just to give a little wink. After I did that, it was easy. So I just added like a +1 on the Canon, so it's a 1/3. Boom! It looked great.
Yeah,
then Yongu plus a full stop looked like the sunshine was coming out of that stove.
Up until 3 years ago, I never had control in my studio strobes like I do now. I shot Normans, and it was called asymmetrical. Had a 2,000 watt pack with 4 little things on the top and one thing out the front. And what you had was the one out the front was 2,000 watt seconds. Then you had 2 sides to it. So if you plugged one in on one side, one on the other side, 1,000 watt seconds each. Or you could cut those in half and have 500 watt seconds each. Or you could put 2 in each side and have 250 per all 4 heads. But that was it.
So
there was no tweaking
at all.
You
buy ND filters by the bale?
I have these metal things made for the film industry that I would go in and put inside the soft boxes. And sometimes you just simply have to move the soft box, which is
Are they like hex grids that just sort of have a little bit of constriction to like a roll to the edge?
Yeah, no, these are metal. They're like screens. And
That's what I mean. Like it's a hex grid that like you
yeah.
roll over the edge so that it blocks like 1/8 of
I have third stop, half stop, full stop, and two stop, and I've got 4 of each. But sometimes one of the things I did when shooting people a lot back in those days was I'd set up a big scrim, right? The scrim is my light source, so I could put my light source exactly where I needed it to be. Then I could move my heavy hitting Normans in and out from that scrim, but the scrim is still my light source. All I'm doing is moving them in and out to change my power. With things like umbrellas, you just simply have to move the umbrella. That's all you. I mean, it's you're always giving up something. What I like about the new strobes that I have now, you can dial them up and down. Is I don't have to give that up. I can put the umbrella exactly where I want it to be, and then dial the light to exactly what I want it to be. So technology ain't always bad. I like it. Even though one of my friends is accusing me of wanting to cannibalize the industry. One of the things in this book I'm reading by Seth Godin that he says that he tells everybody, he says, I got 2 words for you, or 3 words for you, sorry. Learn to code. And he's so right, but he's not saying, oh, hey, you know what? Everybody in America needs to know how to write PHP. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about learning how to do little things that on your own websites or your own whatever it is that you need to customize and do is to learn to code. And I say that's true. And also photographers must learn to write, because writing along with your photography is going to be the money maker as we keep moving forward. I tell photographers to go out and do self-funded or self-projects, self-assigned projects, and write them up.
So, Don, this is a real question I have. Is my writing, okay, in high school I was diagnosed as learning disabled in writing. And so my wife is brilliant at it. She doesn't really have an interest in the technical details about my photography and her artistic thing. Like, she recognizes good art.
Right.
But she doesn't have the interest in studying good art.
Right.
Like, she has a intuitive, like, this is right, this is wrong. Drives me crazy when we go shooting together, because we get back, I try and, like, pull all of her shots in, and I go to crop them, and I'm, like, using the rules of thirds, the golden mean, the whatever rule you want to use. And I go, oh, okay, the composition of this shot is dead on. That's my wife. She just knows. But it makes me incredibly proud of her and incredibly frustrating because I work so hard. You know.
Yeah, I do. I know. But yeah, does your wife write well?
She's a good writer. I can't get her interested enough to help her, to get her to help me edit and like polish, so that I can either become a better writer or she can ghostwrite, or I'll give her full credit if she's writing about what I do.
Well, because
she doesn't want to do what I do.
Entice her with this. You guys could take a week-long trip, say to Paul. I'm going to unmute you. You were really making noise there. You're unmuted. You could take a week-long trip to go up to Vancouver, for instance. Shoot, write it up from whatever standpoint or viewpoint you have to, or you want to come up with, right? Whether it's the food of Vancouver or whale watching in Vancouver, your photographs, her writing, you not only do you write the trip off, you make money from the work that you're doing because you're submitting it. More and more photographer writers are getting their work out there. There's more and more places for content. As we keep going through this next part of this century or this decade, we're going to see more and more of that. Photographers will become content providers. We are now content providers. And the paradigm of a guy with a bag of cameras over his shoulder and all he does is take still photography, good luck with that. It's just not going to be there, folks. It's not. It's 10 years from now, it'll be very rare. It'll be a guy with some cameras and some video and some audio and some sort of capture device or 3D capture device, and he'll be an image specialist / photographer. I guarantee it.
No, but see, the thing that is really resonating with me with this is that the thing we keep telling each other about what makes a good shot is, what's the story? What's the story of the shot? What does it tell you? What's going on? Like, all that stuff. For the people who will be able to translate the story to layman, they'll do well.
Yeah, well, I think
the others will get it because they know they're looking for the story. But the layman doesn't know they're looking for a story. They're looking for, like, oh, this is a great shot and stuff. But, like, somebody who can put together a post with the photograph and the story that goes with it, like,
did you see the
good shot could become an exceptional shot if you know that person has cancer or that person has just won, like, the Olympics or something, whatever,
Did you see I think it was the New York Times that had, and maybe Brett remembers because we were talking about it. It was about the avalanche they had up at the mountain there in Seattle. Brett, do you remember that long scrolling story with it was multimedia. It was long form.
I remember that one, Don.
Do you remember that? Wasn't that fascinating?
That really was interesting.
It was amazing, and it was designed with what they call hold on. It's a type of design that has layers to it. It's both responsive and hold on. I'll give you the name.
You're talking abstract, not about technology. I feel like I've heard it.
Yeah. Darn it. I'm looking for one here. Oh, come on.
Immersive is old.
Interactive?
It is very interactive, but this is a specific
type
of website. It's generally one page. It's actually a one-page website design-wise, but it reveals things below it. So it's built in layers up above. And
progressive?
What's that?
Is it progressive?
Nope.
Progressive?
No, not progressive. Darn it.
It's related to that, though. It's like the concept of you progress along the page.
Yes,
and
exactly.
The longer you read the page, the more detailed the story gets. And word tip tongue.
Yeah, it's one of those words that I'm going to find it here because it's important for us to be aware of it.
I think the exact same coverage. So the Boston Marathon coverage by National Public Radio was exactly that, and it was because they were revealing the facts as they came in, and they had the credibility, which none of the cable news networks have, to be only reporting facts. And so any video that they posted, it was as the story unfolded, it was like, I remember reading that, and it was like, oh, every new post was like, that's new. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That like really grabbed me. And it was like,
I saw one recently.
I wanted to go to Boston and yank a couple people by the scruff of their neck and turn them in.
Yep. I saw one of these recently about the guys up in the North Sea and the oil rigs. It's called parallax. That's the design element. It's called parallax. And what it is websites built with CSS3 and HTML5, and you can basically reveal layers below. So as you're scrolling down, you get to a point, and the type then starts going up, and you reveal the photograph below, and a whole as they would say in school, a
It's
whole
asynchronous.
nother. What's that?
It's asynchronous caching. You only reveal the first part of the page to people who are looking at the first part of the page. It saves you massive amounts of computing power and massive amounts of bandwidth, as opposed to showing them the entire article. But as they scroll down, you already know they're interested, so why not show them more? So you give them the computing power and the bandwidth.
And remember, it's Ajax, so it's not feeding from the server until it's called.
Right, exactly. So until you scroll a full page width down,
right,
they don't load it at all.
They don't load it, and Ajax loads the page. Paula, I don't know what you're doing. I have to mute you again. Ajax loads the page without making the browser refresh. So it just
No,
feeds it up.
It's the HTML5 JavaScript. Yep. Ajax is exactly the right term. So my day job is in. So I'm running one of the people running OpenShift, and we're dealing with like hundreds of thousands of sites like this that are trying to do this stuff. We need to make sure it works right. And that's the thing. That's the magic that Ajax gives you is I can show you a teaser. I can do that cheaply because that's very easy to cache. That first screen full of page.
Sure. That's what the new Flickr
As you scroll down, I already know you're interested, so you're worth spending the extra processing power or bandwidth on to show it to you.
Yep. Well, the new Flickr's that way.
You looked at that first page and been and left. Well, I cached that. I put it up to content distributor. That cost me practically nothing.
Yep.
What is the Seth Godin book called?
The Seth Godin book that I'm reading is called The Icarus Deception.
Yes.
I'm raving about it. I'm telling everybody to read it. It's The Icarus Deception.
I think I saw some kind of interview where he spoke about it, and this was a few months ago.
I just really think he's a brilliant guy, and one of the things that I learned, and I didn't know this, but we always hear about Icarus being told by his father not to fly too high, because the sun would melt his wings, right? What we never hear is the second part of his admonition, which was not to fly so low that the salt or that the water would melt his wings. And so what we do is we raise entire generations of people being told, don't try too much, don't fly too high. We never tell them, don't aim too low.
The other question is, what happened to the people who flew just short of flying high enough to melt your wings? They're still flying up there.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And that's the way it is with photography. That's, to bring it all the way back here, that's photography. Push for the best you can do. You're not going to crash. Your wings aren't going to burn and bring you down. Maybe on a per shot basis, they will. You might try to bite off a little bit more than you can chew on a shot. That's okay. You pick yourself up and, move on. You'll learn more from failure than you'll learn from success any and every day. Absolutely believe it.
I've learned about.
I am a very learned person.
Yeah. Oh, I know the feeling.
Hey, look, all I know is you've got a lot to teach me, so keep doing it.
Well, thanks, Russ. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you go. Get this thing. What's that?
Don?
Yes.
You said share a folder for the current project's going on? Yes.
Yeah. If your project's ready and you've got your 3 or 4 paragraphs written about it.
My question is this: do you want us to put it in the portfolio review folder since that folder is already shared with you, or start a new one?
You can do either one. Just let me know you put it there. Don't just stick it up there. If you're going to put it in your portfolio one, I'm not going to get notified. Do you see what I'm saying? If you
So
start
if
a
we
new
put it
one,
in the
I'll get
portfolio
notified.
one, just drop you an email saying we've dropped it there.
Yes. If you're going to put it in the one that you have already, then just let me know. Say, Don, I put my project up there, and that's great, and I'll go get it.
So, Don, that's something logistically I need cleared up. It's like this project review, the Dropbox folders, etc. I've seen a couple of people getting their portfolio reviews. I'm not really clear on the procedure or what I need to do. I feel like I need to create a specific Dropbox folder.
Create a Dropbox folder called Portfolio Review - Russ Harrison, and then share that with my email address. And that.
Oh, all right. The Steel ID or the Don Giannotti at Gmail?
Who remembers, guys? I think it's the Gmail. Either way, it doesn't make any difference. It's the Gmail, don.giannetti@gmail.com.
Regardless, that's your point.
Yeah. And then that way, that folder lives on your desktop, so you can put things in and out of it all you want. And when you drop your stuff, you don't lose it. It doesn't go somewhere. Well, you know how Dropbox works, Russ. I'm sitting here telling Russ how Dropbox.
Yeah. No, I'm more wondering about the logistics of the project in the sense that, well, so for my case, having a day job that's related to a rapidly growing thousands of users a day site on the internet, and twins who are 2 years old. Is there time frames for this? Like, should we be done by a certain point? Like,
I think when I gave it, I just said basically, let's have everything in by the end of June.
Yeah, twins. Huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, you still got a month and a half. I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it, Russ. I mean, if you get something and it's like the 6th, if it's the 16th of July and you've got a really killer project, then put it up. Absolutely. I didn't have a hard and fast deadline for that. I just kind of was thinking about, how we can do it. Then all summer, we're just going to keep posting these projects that you guys have done, and putting them out there for people to see. So.
Yeah, part of my problem is my projects are, they're related to like human rights, and so I've got lawyers involved because I don't want to post anything that's going to cause harm to anybody.
Right.
Like, when you talk like marriage equality, if I post a picture of a person and their partner, they could lose their job.
Well, don't do that as your project.
Well, so that's my problem. It's like, that's my personal project right now. And so I've got people at the ACLU involved. Like, I'm like, look, I want you to make sure that the people that are involved understand that this is a possibility, that either they're comfortable with that, or if they're not, I don't want to post it,
Yeah, well, and I would just simply say to you, if that's your project, that's fine. Only put the ones in there that you are allowed to post. And if you do the project and you don't want it posted, that's fine. Just drop it up there and say, Don, don't post this. I mean, I'm certainly going to, follow your wishes on that.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. No problem with that. Well, all right. Thanks, folks. I love doing these little ones where we chat a lot. I really do. Hopefully we can do more.
Thank you. I like these, Don. Thanks a lot for putting them up.
No problem.
Yeah, I
really appreciate it. A lot of information gets passed around in these little get-togethers.
Well, I think so.
And if nothing else, I get some quirky personality traits of my fellow participants, and that's fun.
We're nothing if not quirky.
Yeah, this is the part I got to tell you. This is the part I miss from the critiques.
Well, David, I think we're going to probably go back to those critiques, the on the regular Project 52. I think I'm going to go back to doing a live critique show with them because I'm basically losing people over there, and I don't want to do that.
Mid-year thin out?
Huh? Oh yeah, we only had 14 images in the last assignment. So.
Hey Don, I gotta apologize. I haven't been for like the past 3 or 4. It's just work.
Yeah, well, those things happen. Don't apologize.
And actually, it's a good thing because it's work that I've been paid for photography. So,
heck yeah.
I feel concerned about that.
Well, heck yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So like I've been putting some of the stuff we've been talking about to use, and it's been working. And I've been busier and haven't had free time to participate in the project, but I still feel I'm getting value out of attending the critiques, etc.
Good.
So
I'm glad.
I'm going to brag. I'm going to brag. I had an image used to promote a Scottish fair, annual Scottish fair.
Yeah.
I posted the tear sheet in the weekly thread there. Really cool. I really I'm impressed with myself.
Good.
Didn't get paid. Well, I got paid a weekend pass for it, but for this year. But and the shot's 3 years old. But I posted the tear sheet in the weekly thread there. You can take a look at it.
Oh, so all you need to do is like pitch to the guys. You're like, hey, look, guys, this is what I did on my own. What if you guys were working with me? What do you think we could do? And just let them mull.
Well, the thing is, this particular event has a one of their members is the sort of de facto photographer, and yet they used one of mine that I submitted over 2 years ago.
Well, that's the problem with de facto photographers. They get fat and lazy and comfortable. Don't ever get comfortable. Never get comfortable.
Well, this one's a huge. This one's an 11 by 22 poster, a rack poster that they're putting up all around, and it's the first one I've had used like that, and it's pretty cool.
Excellent.
You also have an opportunity to say to the guy who's the de facto guy, hey man, what if we work together? The people who are in the know are going to know that you're the driving force.
No, I work on my own, thanks.
Okay. I don't know anything about the guy in question, so.
He's an old fart like me. Us old farts don't get along.
You guys are stab yourself in the eye. What's the title on the thread?
What's that? It's the weekly thread. It's the weekly thread.
The weekly thread?
The one that goes the week of May 20th.
Week of, yeah.
In the Product 52 Pro forums or
No.
something else?
No, it's in the Essentials.
No, Lighting Essentials.
Oh, the newsletter.
No, the Lighting Essentials forum.
Oh, I'm in totally the wrong group here. Not with it.
Yeah, you're in the. This is the Pro group has their very own Flickr page. The Lighting Essentials has its Flickr page as well. So,
boss, I just wanted to jump in and say bye. I need to go. Thanks a lot for everything, boss.
No problem. I got to run as well, guys. So we will see you next time. Thanks everybody for showing up tonight.
Thank you, Don.
All right, see you guys.